Hello and welcome to the rare evening/early morning in the arena. It's me, it's CGB. Mrs. CGB's asleep. So you get the MPR version tonight. Gotta keep it cool, gotta keep it quiet, but that won't stop us from getting into that jank tank. So, what are we doing tonight? Death and Taxes in Arena. It does very little to live up to the name of the legacy deck that gave it the name Death and Taxes. It's a very popular Magic legacy deck, but it does feature a lot of prison type effects, cards that make our opponent's cards not work the way they want them to and just kind of lock them down as opposed to just removing them. And yeah, it's kind of an annoying little janky brew, and we may lose to creature decks tonight. I won't be surprised one bit if our opponent's playing creatures. We have very little we can do about it, but I will not be thwarted by Turbo Fog. Not even once more. Well, let's get in their hand. Spyglass sees the hand, and oh look, it's Esper Control. Induced Amnesia. So there's a combo here with Induced Amnesia and Disappearing Act to watch for. Our opponent only has one blue source. Fragmentize will blow up the Spyglass. So what are we going to name? Well, I'm going to take out the Villain of Dominaria before it is even drawn. I don't know if my opponent even has it, but by God, I'm going to keep that on lockdown tonight. The opponent can just, okay, they fragmentized it. That pretty much guarantees that Teferi is in the deck. And now that I've seen that they have Fatal Push, I'm going to try to draw it out on this Tocatli Honor Guard, although it's unlikely to matter to our opponent. Creatures entering the battlefield don't cause abilities to trigger. Hopefully we get to play a game where we see this do its thing. Hopefully we also draw lands. So far, I have no idea where this game is going. Doesn't feel like a proper representation of any kind of Magic. It'd be weird to see Induced Amnesia. It is target player. Put into the graveyard from the battlefield. Return the exiled cards to the owner's hand. So strange. Only when it's put into the graveyard from the battlefield. It's a weird card you don't see every day, and I'm not sure. Ah, Corrosion. That's what we're doing. Oh boy. Well, if I never draw another land, you can say he died as he lived, sadly. Remorseful Cleric can sack to exile a target player's graveyard. There goes Helm and that land we needed so badly. Helm of the Host in the deck for all the shenanigans. Just to give you a few examples, Baird and Helm makes it really hard to attack. Gideon and Helm, though, kind of the ultimate lockout win. The Holy Grail, if you will. What on earth is our opponent thinking so hard about? They're just holding the last card in their hand, reading it, I suppose, over and over. I wonder how long it was sitting on my go. Little mistakes. Alright. So, can we do this thing? I just want to attack you. Our opponent waiting till the last second to use priority to play Cast Down. Well, I'm going to exile your graveyard out of straight spite. Take that. 2 cards exiled. Alright. Pass the turn back to our opponent. I could have played the Gideon, but I kind of want to do a trick that I have, which is we want to take our opponent off double blue before they can play, say, a card like Disappearing Act, which has like a counterspell property to it. So I want to play Aven Mindcensor. Oh my. We're going to need that 4th land. I want to play Aven Mindcensor, which keeps our opponent searching only the top 4 cards of their library instead of the whole library. And then I want to use Field of Ruin and see if we can catch our opponent, mana screw them just a little. So if they don't have an island in their top 4, they will be sad. And if they don't have a land in their top 4 at all, they will be very sad. Brutal. So let's see what they find. They only get to search their top 4. They did find a swamp, but not another island. So that will keep our opponent from using counter spells to defend their corrosions. They are filling up my graveyard. I don't like it. Yeah, some nights you just, you know, the top of your deck is kind to you. What can you say? But let's start locking corrosions out of this game. Oh no, did he get Fall of Thran? That's one of the more fun cards in the deck when it comes to locking the opponents out. And it works well in combination with the Remorseful Cleric, which exiles a graveyard. Second, there it is. The Amnesia. Target themselves. I see. That's the idea. Spin the wheel, corrode me intensely. Takes out a Lost Legacy. But we drew the other Fall of Thran. This may turn out okay after all the ugliness, but we've locked corrosion down. Our opponent's drawn 2 straight islands after we thought we got him with that Field of Ruin play. Fragmentize their own induced amnesia, of course. Well, I see what they're doing, but that only got them 1 card. I would have thought they'd fragmentize one of the bindings. Alright. So we have both of these in the graveyard. There is a Scavenger Grounds, though. So if I wait until I can get a 3rd land, so I need a land in my hand, so I can play Fall of Thran, then play the land next turn, 2 lands come back, I can activate Scavenger Grounds. I guess we're all stuck on very few lands in that case, but alas. I am indeed a prankster. Alright. This deck is a prankster. Does our opponent also rip a counterspell? Is it possible? Unbelievable.
Don't force my hand.
And they bounce the Chupacabra. Alright. Still gonna name Teferi. It worked last time the opponent decided to blow it up. So I have to believe they have Teferi in their deck. And we're just pre-hating. We're not going to let Teferi happen ahead of time. Our opponent, though, with an interesting little jank tank brew of their own. They have 1 Fragmentize. There's another one. Do you think they play 4? If so, Fragmentize is 1 card that can save them from these. Let's name Fragmentize. At least we'll get a look at their deck. And we go into the graveyard. There's 1. We go into the library. No more. Interesting. So how do they get out from under these bindings? Doesn't look like they do. I see a Disappearing Act. There's the Teferi. That's on lockdown. Yeah, they're already, most of their deck is completely locked out. We've got Golden Demise, Fumigates, 2 Fumigates. It's important to use all the time they give you here. Just, you may as well learn as much about your opponent's deck as you can. And is that the only win cons? Looks like the Psychic Corrosions are pretty much going to be it, aside with beating us down with very mediocre creatures. Alright, done. So I may not have hit much with the Lost Legacy, but I feel like I gained a lot of information, and I don't know how our opponent's going to get out of this. I really don't know how they're going to get out of this now. Now any creature they play can get exiled with Profane Procession. And I don't think they can remove any of these with any cards in their deck. They can disperse, Spyglass, play Teferi, put something in my deck, but that's such a temporary solution. Alright, we're going to hold that land. Play the Baird. See where things go from here. I expect it to get Chupacabra'd. That's okay. Chupa Chup. $39.28. So we do have to not deck ourselves, but I think we can find our way through that. Let's go ahead and take this out. We're just going to do it now before our opponent untaps and draws a card. Who knows? I have seen their deck though. I guess the card that would mess with that is Disappearing Act, but I'd have to be casting a spell. Disperse. Disperse could also mess with it a little. There's a Settle the Wreckage. Settle the Wreckage is in there for the sweet, sweet, disgusting synergy with the Even. Where did our Even go? The Mindcensor, which says you can only search your top 4, meaning they don't even get the lands. It's also a pretty good combo with the Fall of Thran, because you get them to put all their lands on the table, then you blow them all up. We, of course, are holding back our lands, because we have this evil plan to blow up all the lands. Our opponent is still playing lands. Check that again. It says if there are 3 or more creatures exiled, you transform it. Well, there's Teferi, but Teferi's not going to do anything. Does the Spyglass.
Right on schedule.
Does our opponent know? Oh, the sadness. Alright, we'll hold on to that Field of Ruin too. Although getting all the lands out of our opponent's deck is also a pretty good tactic. Still, we don't want to put it out with the fall. So we'll end the turn. Yep, we are opting. Like I said, lose to creatures? Probably. Lose to control? Ah, no way. We're going to make them as miserable as they can try to make others. I'll put out the Honor Guard. We'll see what happens. They'll probably die a hideous death. Yep, totally fine with me. Although it would have been really funny to see the opponent try to use a Chupacabra or an Exclusion Mage on that card. Alright. So I can't draw... What can't I draw? I can't get another Remorseful Cleric. They're both in the graveyard. Alright, so we have so many lands on our hand now, I think that we can go for the fall. The problem is, if the opponent has that counter Disappearing Act. Oh well. Only one way to find out. Oh yeah. Here we go. Blow up all the land peeps. Alright, we'll say go. Our opponent will say go. Now we're going to return 2 lands. I'm going to pick the Scavenger Grounds. And I'm going to pick the Field of Ruin. I think that's the right one. Yeah. And then what we're going to do is exile the graveyards. So our opponent won't get any more lands back from their graveyard. But I, like the genius that I is, have all these lands in my hand. Oh my. And now our opponent's stuck on 2. I'm a monster, I tell you, a monster. So yeah, we'll start abusing these Field of Ruins on end step and just make it so that there's less and less lands in our opponent's deck to even draw. Especially if they run out of basics to fetch. We've already seen a few of them. As for us, we still have some ways to win the game with some creatures here, and Gideon / Helm of the Host, which hopefully we can assemble. Golden Demise Toast. I don't think of anything that the Spyglass is going to hit, but yeah. Might as well look. Look at all the exclusion mages. Yep. And I'm just going to double down on Teferi. Now our opponent has to get rid of both of these to even use their Teferi. How's your Mythic Wildcard doing ya? Alright, I'll just fire this off now. Get it done. Continues to make it harder for the opponent to top deck another land. Ooh, they did it! They found it, but what can they play? They're still locked out of Psychic Corrosion by the Ixalan's Binding. They can play the Exclusion Mages. Profane Procession can exile it. My ability to draw lands is becoming rather impressive, I must say. With 15 cards left in the deck, I've drawn many, many lands off the top of my library. Another Binding. That'll probably go on Exclusion Mages eventually. Nothing right now, though. Our opponent might just be planning on doing nothing and hoping that I can do nothing. This is amazing. How many more could really be left in my deck? Okay, since this has flash, we can hold up a minute to play it. And here it comes. Here, birdie birdie. The discard of Vraska's Contempt apparently has become uncastable. We'll put out the Baird. And now for the very slow beatings to commence. Maybe, if the opponent, you know, will be so kind as to allow it. Alright, we'll use Profane Procession and we'll exile our own Mindcensor. This puts it under the Procession, and if we get to 3 creatures under the Procession, we can flip it and recast those creatures. Our opponent finds another swamp after discarding some Vraska's Contempts. That's rough. Brawl's Expertise can bounce the artifacts. That's what our opponent's looking at, so that they can use Teferi one time. Alright, you get 1 use of Teferi, make it good. Draw a card.
Keep up the pace!
I love it. Scavenger Grounds. Well, first things first. No more of that, please. disperse. Well, disperse only hits once. Alright, locked it back down. So what's this do? When there are 3 or more cards, exile, transform it. So if we resolve the exile effect on this exclusion mage, we get to transform our Profane Procession, but our opponent right now can disperse it in response. So we actually need to leave up the activation of the procession. If we ever, if we don't want to see our opponent bounce it, which I think is wise. So I will wait on doing anything else this turn. Opponent has found some land here at the bottom of their deck. We had no problem finding land in ours. So next turn we'll have enough mana to activate Procession twice. So if the opponent does go for a disperse, we won't really care. We can just activate it again. Alright. I guess we hold it up. The longer we make our opponent hold mana open, the better. Of course, the end game is still Helm of the Host and Gideon. So getting that disperse out of their hand is also wise. Of course, other exclusion mages are really harsh. Baral, I would much rather use Profane Procession on that than the exclusion mage, because I would like to bind this so that it cannot also be returning these cards to the owner's hand. And there's the disperse. So our opponent with a little mistake there. We're going to start by targeting the exclusion mage, and then with that on the stack. Please let this work. Don't take it, please. I want to also activate. That's very frustrating. And then we will, let's see, put a card exiled from this permanent on the battlefield under our control. So this shouldn't work because it's now a land. So what I wanted to do is activate it again and take the Baral, but it doesn't look like I'll get that opportunity. We also don't want to put anything into play right now because our opponent does have Revolt for their Fatal Push. So we want to do that next turn. If I'd had full control on it, probably would have worked. And this can be done at instant speed, so I don't need to do it right now. I think that there was only one disperse in the whole deck. So we'll play out Baird here. I don't think there's one of those under here. Nope. Again, Exclusion Mage is kind of messy. It can return the creatures back to our opponent's hand if, say, we put out a Ravenous Chupacabra. So it would be really nice to bind one of them, or at least somehow exhaust them. Vraska's Contempt, okay. We have another. Let's hope this Helm of the Host isn't the bottom card. Of course, even if it is, and we pull off the Gideon combo, and the opponent can't get to it, we'll be okay. Alright, bring out the Mindcensor, because it's the creature we own. Another binding. And another Baird. We do have to be careful not to give our opponent Revolt coming down the stretch, or at least make it hard to do. And here comes the Exclusion Mage. Bouncing the Bard? Bouncing the Bard. Our Scrutiny. Ouchie Wawa. I guess we knew that that card was in there. He gets the Bard. Scries one to the top. Okay, so they like the card on top of their deck. And they know about the Settle, so attacking's unlikely. Alright, my turn. The draws just seem to get harsher and harsher. The flood, like, we've only got a few relevant cards to be fair, but did they have to be the bottom two? Alright, we're going to give our opponent Revolt with this play. It's just the way it's got to be. We can't have Exclusion Mage messing around when we get our combo. Our opponent's going to go for the Fatal Push now. Remove the Mindcensor. So now we'll go for the Chupacabra, kill the Brawl. Before our opponent gets their draw step. And now with Exclusion Mage under here, this Exclusion Mage can't be played. Our opponent kept us a Plains. Find that interesting. Not sure what they're going for. I have another Plains. Opt, sure. Coming down to the wire. We both have 10 plus timeouts. Have you ever seen that? Oh my goodness. Maybe our opponent just doesn't scry to the bottom. Maybe it's just not a thing they do. Alright, I'm going to bring out the Exclusion Mage. It only works on creatures the opponent controls, so nothing's going to get bounced. There's a Kambal. Let's go ahead and get that on the battlefield. Our opponent has an instant in their hand. Let's see what it is. Some kind of a counter spell. Would be very annoying. Yep, it's a Disappearing Act. They did find a card they could use, and it's going to come in handy. Four cards. And our opponent's on a 3-turn clock. The Teferi does nothing. The Exclusion Mage can't be played. The Corrosion can't be played. And what happens? Our opponent rips a Fumigate off the top of the deck. Alright. I guess this was all meant to come down to Gideon and Helm of the Host. Alright. Well, you can play the Teferi, but it won't do anything. Just playing it in response is because we're just waiting for priority to get anything done.
I won't hide from the world any longer.
There's the Gideon. So the question is, with 2 cards left, let's go ahead and get our emblem on. I was thinking, should I wait for the Helm of the Host?
If it's a fight you want, you should quit now.
Opponents had the good draws so far. is. There it is.
Stand down.
Dun, 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 dun. Prepare to live the dream. Helm of the Host, equipped Gideon of the Trials with a Gideon emblem. It's lethal, but it would have also prevented us from losing the game. Obviously, we can't lose the game if we get a whole bunch of Gideons.
This is a plane worth saving.
Worth it, I hope. I hope you find all of this worth it. Oh my lord, what a game. This deck is so ridiculous. Just another... Oh, we got a Zahid. Just a really bad prison deck, but it's a deck, alright. Looking at the list, we got 2 Remorseful Clerics for their play with the Fall of the Thran combo. We've got the Tocatli Honor Guard for the general annoyance factor, and Sorcerous Spyglass. 3 Mindcensors, 3 Gideon of the Trials, 3 Lost Legacy, because, you know, Turbo Fog. Screw you. No Nexus of Fate, no Teferis. Good luck. We got 2 Kambals, because also, screw you, Turbo Fog. 2 Profane Processions. It's kind of our hope against, like, mid-range decks. 3 Bards for the taxes part. The bindings, the settles, the helms, and the falls. And you really saw the whole thing. I don't think I need to talk too much about the numbers. There's a lot of ways to build it. I don't know that this is the best way. It's the Jank tank. Try to embrace the fun. These games can get long, much like the token deck I showed you before. I don't know what's up with me and these white-black decks that are currently in the habit of taking forever. But apparently this is the life I've just chosen to live. Yeah, and the draw, I can keep this. You're not going to get much better in your 2-drop slot, to be honest. And like I said, I might lose to creatures. But man, did I want to play a Turbo Fog for this video. What does the life gain deck use? I guess I want to play this. As you see, it shuts down authority of the consuls. Whenever creatures entering the battlefield do not cause abilities to trigger, that includes you. So that does have an ability that will trigger if our opponent can find another creature. Double Tocatli. Doesn't have double the effect, so what should I take out? If I look at my opponent's hand with Spyglass, I'll know exactly what to take out. But you have to expect that Crested Sunmare is a key player, Resplendent Angel is a key player, but if they had a Resplendent Angel, they would have played it. I think I can wait one more turn to name Sunmare, though. War Leader. Well, something I could have named. And it's not an activated ability, so we've got big trouble. Alright. Crested Sunmare. Go away. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see what we're working with. Lots of kittens, lots of caracals, a couple of bindings. Any activate abilities, I could name Adorned Pouncer to turn off the Eternal Eyes. I think that is about it for what Spyglass can do in this matchup. I could also name Memorial of War, but I don't think that's too... Memorial to Glory. Better, I think, to name the kitten. So yeah, Adorned Pouncer if it comes to that. Or Sacred Cat. 2 Sacred Cats, 2 Adorned Pouncers, 3 Sacred Cats. Alright, done. But now our opponent will probably be able to play this Regal Caracal and steamroll me. We'll need to draw the Settle the Wreckage off the top. That's about the only option. Settle the Wreckage with Aven Mindcensor, by the way. Another humorous combo. Oh, well, that's a good draw too. Alright, settle off the top, or I can get out of this game and try to get Turbo Fog. Nope, Lost Legacy. Well, for the lulz. For the memes, my friends. What is this card called? Regal. Too bad they had to have that War Leader too. Like I said, probably for the 4th time in this video, it's hard to keep track. I will lose to creatures, but I will not lose to the fog. So please, one time, match me with that Turbo Fog deck that everybody is so freaking hyped over. Give me some Nexus of Fate, baby. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, count your lucky stars. Now this is a Teferi. Somebody picked Teferi as their avatar. This could well be it. This could be the fog. The mist. And I get hands like this. I can't tell you how many mulligans I took in just a couple warm-up games I played. It's like I can't stay up late apparently without having to mulligan into oblivion. Well, need to hit my land drops. Wow, I feel faked out. I feel like I got my hopes up for nothing. Watch him be, solid mono red. Oh, so this produces a mana of any color. Okay, what is going on? Is it Joda? 5-color deck. This Field of Ruin feels particularly nasty here. But I'm more about the Gideon, I think. Emblem.
Prepare. You cannot win.
I hope that means I can, although I am concerned. And it's dragons. Okay.
No, I don't think so.
5-color dragons. Could be interesting. I'm not sure where this matchup will lead. I'll just blow up this Spire right now. Not likely to be super effective since our opponent can now just go fetch the land they really want. But we are sitting on that Fall of Thran combo with the Cleric. If we get ahead and get to 6 mana, unfortunately, we can exile our opponent's graveyard. It is target players. We don't need the Scavenger Grounds combo. see what play they've got up next. Seems really ambitious to hope this Remorseful Cleric will live the whole time, but it's not dead yet. I do feel a bolus is very likely on the way. Opponent having a hard time passing this particular turn. Oh, that's sad. Too many people playing good cards for the Jank tank to work. Ooh. They may have nothing to get rid of this. They may have absolutely nothing for this. Hype. We'll play the grounds now because our opponent may play the bolus. And if they play the bolus, we gotta make sure that the last card we're discarding isn't one we like very much. They are having a really hard time with this passing of the priority stuff. They should just crack their Evolving Wilds now. The information isn't going to change my plays, and they know the last card in my hand. There's no reason not to crack this. Of course, they saw somebody on the Pro Tour once upon a time wait till end step, so now they think that's technically right, when really they're just wasting their own time, and mine, which is a little frustrating. But you can't teach them all. Maybe they'll watch this video someday and know what I mean. Once all the information's discerned and there are no decisions to make, just crack your Evolving Wilds. Oh boy. Let the party begin. I'll take 5. It's not like it's gonna hit Gideon. Gimme.
Stand down.
The real question, how many times will my opponent make me... How many dragons is my opponent going to feed to my procession? That's the real question. Spit Flame. Well, it's too bad I can't exile this when it hits the graveyard, but I've got to do it now. So be it. It got really quiet in here. Why does the music just go out on you sometimes? Maybe we exhausted the playlist. Give me that. See if our opponent wants to like abrade their own dragon egg or something. Yep, there's a disintegration on their own dragon egg, which is fine. They don't get their spit flame back. We can just plus, shut down this dragon.
No, I don't think so.
And keep playing out our lands because we don't want to discard them to bolus. That Profane Procession sure is sticky against a mid-range deck. Oh, what are they doing? Consign. Interesting. And another Doomfall, perhaps? Another Dragon Egg. Okay, Max Spitflame. Okay. Wombo combo. This token still won't deal any damage. It's back. Should have played this, though.
Virtue will always triumph.
Shut it down, shut it down.
That's enough.
But yeah, should have played the desert. Little mistake. We'll see if the opponent spends their time on this Oblivion. Probably not. I think it's clear that my card isn't very good or important. I'm going for an Angrath. Okay. Well, that's annoying too.
Ever seen water burn?
Funny
You
question.
will. No fire, no steel.
Alright, get it out. The cool thing about exiling tokens and things that the opponents kill in response, like this dragon egg, is that it doesn't count towards the 3, although this will if we get it, and we do. Alright, so let's make a 4/4 indestructible.
I've been waiting for this.
And let's bash on our Angrath here. It may set our opponent up to use a Glorybringer.
Shiver my horns and hammer.
Or some other hasty dragon. And that's probably the best thing they can come up with here. Although we can just turn that hasty dragon around after we steal it with Procession. Well, it'll have to be their last mystery card.
No fire, no steel.
Our opponent has pulled out the proper Grixis with some dragon eggs and some dragon synergy. Will Profane Procession be enough? That and our all lands deck, as we have again managed to draw a ridiculous amount, 11 lands. I think I see like 4 spells. Alright, make me a 4/4.
You'll have to get through me first.
Well, if you got something, they have some instant. Let's see if they know how to use it. But they seem dedicated to this idea of waiting till last minute. Oh, the Spitflame. They can Spitflame the Gideon. It just won't do anything.
You'll burn for that. Shiver my horns and hammer.
So much smack talk. We could exile the Oblivion from the graveyard, but I'm not actually worried about it. Our opponent might do it if they have nothing to do. It'd be a little annoying. Cathartic Reunion. Ah, they discarded the Spitflame and the Oblivion's down there. This seems like a good opportunity. Now that the Spitflame's down there, let's just go ahead and blow away these graveyards. So our opponent can't Oblivion or get back Spitflame. It does kill pretty much all of our little creatures. Memorial to Genius. Skyship Plunderer. Odd one. Do I want to exile that and flip my Procession? I'm going to see what my top card is first. The Baird. Okay. I think it makes sense not to flip this at this point. I think I'd rather just lock down this Plunderer.
Not if I can help it.
Lay out the Baird. And keep my last Profane Procession activation for something truly huge and scary. Well, that's a way to draw.
Ooh, I love what they... Oh, look what I found.
You get a zombie. Alright. Well, that can take care of Liliana. Let's get a look at this hand. Plague Mare. Gross. Liliana, Death's Majesty, please. Make me a 4/4.
Now it's my turn.
Combat, attack. You've got Vigilance. We're just going to go face. Try to end this game. One thing about Plague Mare, it can't be blocked by white creatures, so there's definitely a case for getting it onto the battlefield. Opponent with a pretty silly double block, to be honest, because what we can do now is exile the token, doesn't flip the procession, and the plunderer will die. Oh, Profane Procession, how I love thee. You might ask why I don't just flip it and start casting these dragons. Well, our opponent could find a way to kill these dragons. They've already shown that they play Unlicensed Disintegration. I think I saw Vraska's Contempt, Doomfall, Spitflame, and Consign, which can consign returning the Demanding Dragon to my opponent's hand would be really nasty. So the longer we can keep it around, the longer we can just always exile things like tokens, and the more we can just, I guess, keep the opponent in these nasty kind of locks where nothing feels good. And the card off the top is the Dragon's Hoard. But we won't see the Plague Mare yet. And there's a binding. Do we want to bind the Horde? Suppose we could. Opponent giving us an oops, whatever that means here.
I've been waiting for this.
We'd have a sweet play if we had enough mana. We could exile our own creature, flip the procession, and then bring out the Demanding Dragon for lethal. But it doesn't look like we're going to have the opportunity. Yep, draw 2 cards. I think I'm just going to hold up Profane Procession and keep binding in hand. There was some thought to binding on the Dragon's Hoard, but I don't think it's going to be important enough. I'd rather have end step, Profane a blocker, my turn, bind or Profane a blocker. Chandra. Okay.
Let's do this.
Good binding target. Of course, we may not need to. Plus, bold.
Oh, today's my lucky day.
And it looks like they just hit a land. Hard to tell in that massive exile pile. And Nicole Bolas finally makes an appearance. All right, let's take him. He will be mine. Well, for the fun.
Amonkhet deserves to be liberated.
For the ultimate. Nope. Opponent will not let us live out the dream. A little bit of BM, but it's the Jank Tank. We gotta show the ridiculous things that we came to do. I hope you've enjoyed this edition. Sorry if the late night recording has me with a little less energy than normal, but I still hope that you enjoyed the deck and the video. Remember to leave a comment and definitely a thumbs up or a subscribe if you are into this kind of stuff. It reminds me to make more videos. And for this week in this edition of the Jank Tank, thank you very much, and I'll see you next time.